everyone, Bevan here. Welcome to the GNU Cache tutorial. This is a basic tutorial in which I will talk about the functionality of the GNU Cache. Now, GNU Cache is a free accounting software and it is distributed under GNU GPL, which is the general public license, and it is available for Windows, Mac, Linux, Solaris, and BSD, and you can download it by going to www.gnucache.org. Now, to download GNU Cache, once you're on their web page, you want to go to the left hand side and click on Downloads link. From there, you want to select the appropriate version for your Windows operating system. I'm selecting the GNU Cache for Microsoft Windows XP Vista 7 option. And once I click on this will direct me to SourceForge website, and the download will start within a few seconds. Once you see the download window, go ahead and hit on Run. So once the installer has been downloaded, I'm going to launch the installer to start the setup. So here I want to go ahead and select English as the language and hit OK. And this is the setup wizard. And let's click on Next. Let's accept the license agreement and hit Next. Now you have the option to select the folder where you want GNU Cache to be installed. So you can select any of the folders. I'm selecting it to the standard folder and clicking on Next. On this screen you can select the component you want to install. I'm selecting the full installation, and you can also do the custom installation. And click Next. On this screen you can select a folder in which Start menu item will be created. The default is GNU Cache right now, so I'm going to leave it as is and click on Next. Now on this screen you can choose where to put the shortcuts to launch GNU Cache. I'm selecting mine as the desktop icon and the Start menu link and click on Next. So you want to hit Install and let it wait to install on your computer. So once the setup has been completed, you can go ahead and finish this, and there should be an icon on your desktop of GNU Cache. So let's go ahead and start our GNU Cache. Let's double click. When you launch GNU Cache for the first time, it prompts you to create a new file in which GNU Cache will create your accounts. GNU Cache can have multiple files. For example, you may want to keep your business files in one account and personal files in another. So let's click Forward to create the file, and we're going to select currency US dollars. That's what I'm going to select, and click Forward. And right here it's giving me a purpose to create my accounts. Now my purpose is business accounts, but you can select from something such as a simple checkbook to a car loan to a CD and money market account. So these are all the different account types, and you can have more than one purpose, in which case you can just check all of your purposes. Now since my purpose is business accounts, I will select this and click on Forward. Now on the next screen you can change the account name, so you can edit your checking account and it will give you the option to rename this, and same goes with the other accounts. Now you can also input the opening balances, if any. So I would say I have about $5,000 in my savings account from my company, so I double click on the right side of my savings and input $5,000 and hit Enter. And I have $10,000 in my checkings account, so once again double click and enter $10,000 and hit Enter. So now I click Forward, and we click Apply to create the accounts, and GNU Cache will prompt you to save the file that it just created for you. So I'm going to say mine as business accounts, and save as. And now all my new accounts have been created. You can always go back and add more accounts to your current setup. And this is going to bring us to the main GNU Cache window, which is the accounts tree window. So as you can see, there are 5 different categories of account here. There's assets, equity, expenses, income, and liabilities. Now I will expand the assets tree. So under the assets account tree, you can see we have accounts receivable, in which you can maintain your payments that you need to collect for the goods you sold. Then we have another subgroup called the current assets, under which we can have checking account, petty cash, and savings account. So you see the opening balances are already there, $5,000 in savings and $10,000 in checking. Now I'm expanding the equity group, and as you can see, the total of checking and savings account opening balances has been credited in the opening balances account. Now equity account represent the money which has been invested by the owners of the business, as compared with liabilities, which is money borrowed from others for the business. Now all of the money collected from our equity and liabilities is used to buy assets, which means that the sum of equity right here and liabilities would always be equal to assets. This is also called the basic accounting equation. Now you can double click any of these accounts. So let's say if I double click on my checking account, I can see the transactions done on this particular account leading to the current balance. So it gives me a description, which was an opening balance, and a transfer type. It was equity for opening balances, and a deposit of $10,000. Now this window right here is actually called the account registered window. Now you can also add more transactions from the account registered window, but there's a more convenient way to transfer window, which we will talk about shortly. At the very top, we have some menu choices, which we probably would be using frequently for this system. Let's close this for now and come back to our main screen. Now in accounting, any money that comes into an account has to come from another account, which means that for every debit in an account, it leaves to a credit in another account. So assets, equity, and liabilities are called balance sheet accounts, and these are real accounts which represent physical things like factory, equipment, cash, loans, etc. Now income, so my income and expenses account, these are nominal accounts which are used to make changes to balance sheet accounts. Let's now look at transfer. So for this, we need to go to Actions menu and click on Transfer. The Transfer Fund window pops up. The shortcut for this window is Control and T on your keyboard. So if you just keep pressing Control and T together, it will bring you to Transfer Funds window. Now let's say I'm going to input the amount to transfer. So say about $15,000 today. So I select the current date of transfer, and number is optional. It is just a number to identify your transaction. I'm going to leave it blank, and in the description field you can type a description of the transaction, and for my purpose I'm going to say sales of computer hardware. Now we'll select the account from which to transfer the funds. So transfer from, I'm going to, this money is generating from sales, so I expand the income accounts tree right there and select sales. So right here is sales. And on the right hand side, I can select which accounts to transfer the money into. Now this sale of $15,000 was on credit, so I select accounts receivable, which is under the assets tree. So I expand my assets and accounts receivable and click OK. So as you can see, the current balance in assets and income. so assets and income, has changed by the same amount, which is $1,500. Now there are some tools available in GNU Cash which you can use in your day-to-day accounting practice. Let's look at a couple of them. Go to Tools menu and click on General Ledger. Now General Ledger shows you a list of all the transactions done on all the accounts. So at the very top of the level of transaction in green shows us the transaction, and in gray it shows us the accounts affected by these transactions. Now you can close the General Ledger and click on going back to the Tools menu and click on Financial Calculator. Now this is a handy tool that you can use to calculate the time value of money. So let's close this for now. Now GNU Cash also allows you to generate financial reports. All the report types are available in the Reports menu. So let's go to Assets and Liabilities group and select Balance Sheet. So we'll go to Balance Sheet. Now this is a year's end report which shows the current balances. So we have current assets. Under assets, my total assets showing. And then you can see the current balances in the real accounts, that is assets, liabilities, and equity. Now as you can see, the total assets and the ending balance is equal to total liability and equity ending balance. So let's close this and let's close this and go back, and let's go back to reports and go to assets and liabilities, and let's go to general journal report. Now this is a similar report to general ledger screen where we just were some time back. It's just that in this report you can view this in a report manner, and you can also print this. So let's close this. Let's also now look at some of the income and expense reports. So let's go to Reports, Income and Expense, and let's select our income statement. Now income statement shows the ending balances in all the income and expense accounts. Income accounts are listed at the top, while expenses are listed at the bottom of the report. Now at the very end of the report, it shows the net income and expenses, which is your net income. So here are my total expenses, and my net income for a period is this much. Let's close this and let's go back to the reports again. And let's go to Income and Expenses and click on Cash Flow. The statement of cash flow reports the ending cash balance at the end of the report. So the cash flow in most cases is different from net income because of the introduction of non-cash items such as depreciation, amortization, and accounts payable. So this was the money in, and this is the money that went out from the accounts, and then with the difference, that's what's left. Let's close this and let's go back to the reports to look at the last report we're going to talk about, which is equity statement. So we go to Income and Expense and we go to Equity Statement, and this report shows the changes in owner's equity account over the accounting period. So this is equity statement for the whole period, for the whole year, starting capital, and then the increase in capital and the ending capital. Let's close this and come back to our main screen. Now these were some of the basic reports that I just went over, and GNU Cash is a very handy software and it is for free, so I hope you guys find this video helpful and try GNU Cash. Thank you for watching.